I've got enough time to talk to you today on the camera before my battery dies, so feeling quite good about myself for no particular reason. So I'm going to start talking yet again about brainwaves. During my last video I did a piece, I suppose, on the alpha rhythm, which was okay. You know, I mean, I'm giving you my opinions. I've said before that there isn't really all that much which I could, I could go straight to Wikipedia, I could like read through all that stuff, I could like repeat it back to you verbatim. What good would that do you? Okay, so do look at Wikipedia, look up all the various brainwave frequencies, read it and study it and get it into your thick head as to what these things are about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my sort of like points of view and extrapolations from experience as to what I think happens under some specific circumstances. Now, it is just my opinion, so you're just going to have to accept that. I could easily be wrong, alright? But these are my opinions, and I'm quite flexible about these things. So if like big information comes up which makes me challenge my point of view, then I'm going to accept that, just as I've changed my point of view about diet and nutrition over the years and that sort of thing. Take that into account. Here we go. There was a time when I was a student. I was doing a lot of the Theta brainwave entrainment using my rather cheap mind machine at the time, and I believed that that would help me to study. So I'd use that for a while, then I would go and study. All right. And there was one time, I mean, I was what you call a proper student. Okay, that means I didn't do all that much in the way of work, and I spent a lot of my time basically in the bar and doing a bit of partying because I wanted to do that at that time of life. It was quite the wrong attitude, completely the wrong attitude, and I'm not condoning that behavior under any circumstances. Anyway, there was this one day in which I did my mind machine meditation, then I went to this this special quiet room that you could go to for your studies. It wasn't the library, it was another place, I can't remember. Got out all my books and the rest of it, but I was still a bit hungover from the previous night. I've been eating proper student food, which basically means like nutritional value of 0. Alright, or as close to it as you can get. Everything was like fats and carbohydrates and very little in the way of like either protein or, you know, your vitamins and your minerals and everything else. I wasn't taking any nutritional supplementation, and I really was rather depleted, so I was knackered, I was overtired, I hadn't been doing much sleeping, and on top of that, you don't sleep when you're a student, at least in my day, because like everyone was like really noisy. Okay, so the very idea of actually getting like any sleep at all at night was like 0. That's why I had to study out of the place where I lived, and in this different environment. So I'm settling down with all my books and with all my pad and pens and all the rest of that, and I'm taking notes here, there and everywhere, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, I'm really concentrating, really focused on all this stuff. And then, hey presto, someone slammed the door way over there. And it was like, you know, it gave me a heart attack, because like my mind was so intently focused on what I was trying to study that when something else, some other stimulus comes along, it would jerk me out of that state of mind. And it was like, oh my God. And I thought to myself, like, was I really properly in like a theta state or something close to a theta state when I was doing my studying? And I think to myself, yeah, probably. But one thing I noticed was that I didn't really absorb the information all that well. Further experimentation on how I personally reacted to doing a lot of like theta meditation was that it seemed to be better to do it after I've been doing a lot of studying, because then the body and mind can relax, and then maybe you can like internalize all the stuff you've been trying to cram into your head, but not necessarily before for some reason. I don't know. What I have discovered is the theta rhythm seems to be somehow connected to some extreme emotions such as anger and frustration because of the way it feels. Okay, but it's also a very relaxed frequency as well, so you can use the same frequency for a form of deep relaxation as well as for a form of like deep intense anger prior to action. So it can be almost like a non-thinking state of mind associated with a particular singular idea or a singular obsession, which I think is quite curious, as well as being this kind of like relaxed, calm, focused and absorbing information which you've either already crammed into your head or is being given to you like in the form of a hypnotherapy session maybe. So it's more to do with absorption after you've had stuff thrown into your head, or whilst you're having it being thrown into your head by some kind of like, you know, hypnotherapy type geezer, you know what I mean? So it's all really rather curious. I'm sure I've mentioned a time when I did a lot of like deep meditation and then went to do a shot on in a game of pool, and like all the noise of the pub got turned down to zero because I was concentrating so intently on the pool shot that I couldn't actually concentrate on the sense of hearing. It was just like everything else got turned down to zero, and bam, I did my shot. It was a very weird experience. My thinking, therefore, is that you probably need a complexity of different frequencies going on inside your head for total sensory awareness. Alright? This is just a hypothesis of mine. There's no hard science on that. Okay? And also that all your various channels of awareness, okay, require a certain level of focus on them. Maybe there's some kind of like alpha theta meditation state of mind that the experienced wine tasters in the world use, because like they're in a silent environment, just sitting there with their glass of wine and just trying to take into account like the bouquet and the rest of it. So all of the olfactory sense and all the parts of the brain which deal with the olfactory sense are getting stimulated more and more. So maybe those parts of the brain grow for kind of like a neuroplasticity, neurogenesis thing, you know, neuroplasticity being the brain's ability to change structure, and neurogenesis, of course, being the brain's ability to develop new brain cells on existing structures to make that part of the brain stronger as a result of regular practice. Okay? But from my point of view, it would make sense. Maybe for a wine taster, you need to do your alpha theta meditation so that you can use that in your focusing upon that one particular sense, that one particular experience of, you know, taste or fragrance or whatever it is you're doing. And if you're someone who needs to use your other senses in other ways, such as like your sense of hearing, if you're someone who's like major and massive with your taste of music, maybe you'll need to do that as well for that. Hypothetically, that's not an order, that's just a suggestion. Okay, just relax, chill out, everything's okay, everything's awesome. So I'll do another video on another frequency of my experiences with that, and then you can make up your own mind. But do go to Wikipedia and read the stuff about brainwave entrainments and all the various brainwave frequencies, the history, and what you know official science says, and get yourself a mind machine and start playing with it, because this stuff is it's curious, really is curious, and where it takes you with your exploration about yourself is quite mind-blowing at times. Keep cool. Nick Dutch out.